Good morning, everyone. This is my name's Craig Simpson. I'm here at NorthStar Community, and so I'm recording out of my office today instead of the sanctuary. And so I hope you're all having a good week, and we're moving into the Memorial Day weekend. It's always for me, it's kind of a touching time. All my dad and my uncles were all World War II veterans, and this was always a big day for them, and always makes me miss them a little bit, just because it makes me remember being with them and hearing some of their stories during Memorial Day weekends. So for you that have lost family members in the service, we think of all of you and we hold you in our prayers. So today we're going to talk about self-actualization. What does that mean when we say, if someone says to you, you are self-actualized, you should say, thank you, that's a great thing. And the problem is for us with addiction, and I assume that if you're watching this right now, you're in recovery at some level, either trying to begin the journey of recovery, or you are on the path to recovery, or you've been at it for some time. Whatever those reasons are, you are moving forward and you're overcoming your addictions, and that is so important. So at NorthStar, what we do is we try to make us become very aware of what it was in the first place that caused us to become addicted. So, really there's a time and place when you're not addicted to something or behaviors or people, but as you get older, the addictions become stronger, and then the fact is you become where you can't stop. So then you start to realize that something's really wrong here, and it's time to do something different. And so you enter recovery because the pain has gotten too high. So we always talk about the law of human gravity, and the law of human gravity basically is, I got this from Dr. Tversky in his book Addictive Thinking, is that we always gravitate towards a path of least resistance. And so with the law of human gravity, if we're addicted, we're using because it's more painful to not be addicted. It's too painful for us to not use because living clean and sober is just too painful. For many of us, we have so much shame about ourselves and about what we've done, what we're doing, all the deception, the lying, the things that we do. So we're here to tell you, you can recover. It's not easy. And one of the problems is that we have to figure out ways to face our pain. That's the only way that we can overcome this stuff. Because what we believe is that so much of addiction is habitual behavior to avoid pain. The pain of our childhoods, the pain of our early adulthood, or the pain now. And we have to figure out ways to overcome that. So the problem is that when we become addicted, we start to live in a very survival sort of way. We just get through today, figure out ways to move on from today. When we say to someone who's addicted, you need to get a passionate purpose in your life, you need to find that really drives you. Most of us, when we're addicted, we don't really have time for that. We are surviving. We are getting by. We're going to get through today, we hope. So let's talk about self-actualization. So our goal that we state all the time in NorthStar is we want people to have a rich, full, meaningful life. What in the world does that mean? A rich, full, meaningful life. There's just so many different definitions of it, but we live in the moment. We have purpose in our life that drives us, maybe all the way from work to family to recovery, whatever it is, we're involved in something that's bigger than ourselves. And hopefully it requires some other people, because as addicts, we love to, withdraw from others and to disconnect and expect the worst from people. So if we have a purpose in our life, that makes our lives so much better. We pay attention to ourselves and others, and we think about their needs, our needs. We feel like we have agency in our life. That means that we have control over what happens to us. It's not all accidental. It's not bad luck. Other people would call this, what our locus of control is. Do we have an internal locus of control where we see we're in charge of our lives most of the time, not always, but most of the time what happens to us is because of what we've done or what we haven't done. An external locus of control would be that things are done to me, I can't do anything about it, it just happened. So, and of course, most of the time we see that as bad stuff. So one of the things I always see we do that we're so guilty of is we may even actually do some things right, and we see that as accidental. When we make mistakes, oh my gosh, we internalize that stuff, we beat ourselves up. So the problem is that we do some things right, we externalize that, we see it almost as luck. Then when we make mistakes, when we do something wrong, we internalize that way too much. And we blame ourselves, all those things, or we blame others. So when we're talking about self-actualization, this is a good thing. We're talking about you are able to have some agency in your life. You have the ability to make some things happen. You have your ideas about what is successful to you. You have relationships that aren't all bad. They may not be all great, but they're not all bad, because so many of us, our relationships are pretty messed up. So let's think about what self-actualization might be. So let's think about this. They're having a dinner in your honor. They're going to congratulate you for all the great things you've done. What do you want them to say about you? How did you handle adversity? How did you treat people? How were you professionally? How were you as a parent? How were you as a family member, as a sibling? All these things. Did you live your values? Were you someone who did things right? How would people talk about you? Would they talk about you as well? You know, good old Joe was a addict. He never recovered. He lied a lot. He stole a lot. He deceived a lot. He turned on people. He made sure that his needs were met before anyone else's. Is that what people say about you, or are you going to be this person that is seen as kind and caring and someone who had some purpose in his life, was able to be honest and direct? You know, it's it's really funny how in our country we just get so caught up in being rich and all those things, when the fact is, would you rather be known as rich, or would you rather be known as someone who treated other people right and treated people well and had a rich, meaningful life? You know, David writes in Psalm 32, he writes about being honest and open with ourselves and God seeing that. So I'll read, this is the Message version. Going through the motions doesn't please you. A flawless performance is nothing to you. I learned God worship when my pride was shattered. Heart-shattered lives ready for love don't for a moment escape God's notice. So we're honest. We're at this retirement dinner and people are saying some really good stuff about us. That's what we hope for. So if we're not doing that, we're going to be seen as dishonest. We're going to be seen as people who aren't someone that we can count on and all those kind of things. But if we are seen as someone who is living their lives correctly, then we can look at it from a different point of view. So let's talk about self-actualization just for a moment. So self-actualization means that we are, let me get to my notes here so I can say it absolutely right here. Self-actualization means we have self-efficacy and we have self-respect. So what does self-efficacy mean? It means confidence in the ability to cope with life's challenges. Self-efficacy leads to a sense of control over one's life. So our internal locus of control is in charge. All of us are going to have setbacks. All of us are going to make mistakes. All of us are going to do dumb things. All of us are going to do great things. But what we see here is that we have some to a lot of control over our lives and how it turns out. The other thing is we have self-respect. We experience one as we experiencing one self as deserving of happiness, achievement, and love. Self-respect makes possible a sense of community with others. So how do we strengthen our self-actualization. So how do we become where we can actually be this person who believes we are masters of our own fate, that we can manage what we're doing, we can come up, we're the reason why we have good relationships or not, and that we have respect for ourselves in a way that's okay for us to love ourselves, to have some fun, to have experience success. Because I'll tell you, for many of us in addiction, we don't even think we deserve such things as that. So here's some things we can do. We can live consciously. We can pay attention to information and feedback about our needs and goals. If we're not reaching our goals, why not? What can we do different? Are our needs being met? If not, why not? What can we do? We face facts that might be uncomfortable or threatening, and we refuse to wander life in a self-induced fog. That last part is easier said than done. How many of us, we go to work, we come home, we go to work, we sit down, we watch TV, we're exhausted, we're tired, we're not doing anything active, we're not getting exercise, all those things. And we feel like we're at some level failing all the time. That's not what we want. We want to live consciously. What do we need to do different to make our lives better? Self-acceptance. We have to be willing to experience whatever we truly think, feel, and do. We need to face mistakes and learn from them. It's easy to do, particularly when we're addicted, to really beat ourselves up and be so mean to ourselves. Self-responsibility. We establish a sense of control over our lives by realizing that we are responsible for choices and actions at every level. We have self-assertiveness. We have a willingness to express appropriately our thoughts, our values, and feelings, and to stand up for ourselves, to speak from our deepest convictions. That's a pretty tough one, particularly when we're addicted, when we're living in the throes of our hurts, habits, and hang-ups. It's easy for us to not think we have much value to others, or that we don't think that we can have values that mean something, that we're important enough to live our lives the way we need to. Living purposely, setting goals, and working to achieve them rather than living at the mercy of chance and outside forces. That's what we already talked about with our locus of controls. And then last is integrity, the integration of our behavior with our ideals, our convictions, standards, and beliefs, acting in congruence with what we believe. I don't know about you, but sometimes I have situations in my life where I feel as strongly on this side as I do this side. And that's tough. And that's what happens to us when we're addicted. You know, we just lose ourselves. We lose who we are. We lose what we can be. We come to declare war on ourselves. We declare war on others around us. And it's just not the way we want to live. That is not a rich, full, meaningful life. So today, let's think about this for a moment with self-actualization. It's okay. You can be successful, whatever that means to you. You can have a good family life. You can recover from people. You can get toxic people out of your life. You can actually have a purpose. You can actually do something that makes sense. So here's some things to think about if you want to do something different this week. Establish a goal for this week only. I'm going to read a certain number of times. I'm going to understand. I'm going to learn about something. I'm going to pray more. Whatever it is that it is. And then think about a risk. What's a risk you could do? What's something you could put yourself out there to do that's a little bit different? And of course, we always talk about gratitude. You know, write down 3 things you're grateful for every day. Make that a commitment this week. If you can do these kind of things, maybe you can have a life of rich, full, meaningful life. But you can't do this by yourself. You need to get yourself into groups. Find support groups that are there for you to overcome your addiction, for you to overcome the toxic shame in your life, for you to rest and become a loving person, to have a rich, full, meaningful life. So today I'm going to close with Matthew 11. Normally I close with prayer of serenity, but today I'm going to do a little bit different. I'm going to do Matthew 11. Again, this is in the Message Bible. I think it's one of his great interpretations here. Are you tired? This is Jesus speaking. Are you tired, worn out, burned out on religion? Come to me, get away with me, and you'll recover your life. I'll show you how to take a real rest. Walk with me, work with me, watch how I do it. Learn the unforced rhythms of grace. I won't lay anything heavy or ill-fitting on you. Keep company with me, and you'll learn to live freely and lightly. Doesn't that sound good? To live freely and lightly doesn't mean you're not going to have issues. You're going to have problems. Recovery by itself creates all sorts of issues. Sometimes families fight you on recovery. Of course, you fight yourself on recovery because it's hard not to use. It's hard not to do compulsive behaviors. It's hard not to create another broken relationship. That's what we know. But I'm just giving you permission today to think about what self-actualization means. Self-efficacy, meaning I have control of my life, I have agency, and self-control, that I can do the right things when I need to, not do the things I don't need to, and I can connect with others and be loved. So, NorthStar Community, we meet on Wednesdays at 6:30 and Fridays at 6:30 at Walnut Grove Baptist Church here in Mechanicsville, Virginia. We've been doing this for a long time, at least 15 years now. We have Sunday mornings, we meet, kind of a small group Bible study kind of thing. It's very kind of depends on what we want to talk about, at 9:30 on Sunday mornings. And then, of course, we have our 11:15 online service that you're watching now. So I appreciate you joining today. If you ever want to get a hold of me, you can call 804-746-5081, or you can email me at csimpson@wgva.church. But I'd love to hear from you about your journey and anything you need, and we're always here for you. Come casually. You don't have to dress up on any of those meetings. On Friday nights, we have childcare. And also on Friday nights, we have food. So you don't need to eat before you come. You can come directly here from work, and that's your schedule. But anyway, thanks so much for joining today. NorthStar Community is here to support you, not to judge you. We're here to support you and to love you and help you get back to you. And just believe that God loves you way more than anything you've done wrong. His grace and mercy is unbelievable. So again, thank you. My name is Craig Simpson. I hope to hear from you, and thanks for joining today.